As you know, John is sitting right here. In terms of where I am today, the company is called Capgemini, and it really the business unit that I'm part of today really started as Canway. Canway was formed in 1989, and in 2007 it was acquired by a company called Capgemini. Now when we started Canway, John, Raymond, and another gentleman called Vietnam, right from day one, we said we want to have an organization that is set apart in terms of its culture, in terms of its operations, and things. And one of the things, cultural disparity, that we wanted to instill in the organization, I have right at the bottom, is called the global mindset, right from day one. And what that meant for us was to create an organization which transcended all the trappings and all the prejudices and all the ways of operating as a small organization, small mindset. We really didn't think about 40 countries, 10,000 people, whatever. It was a globality. Globality is more of a mindset. So we wanted to set that up, and because of that, what was the product? Oh, okay. Canva basically did computer software. Okay. Computer software. That's all. Yeah. But what we said was we want to create an organization that transcended the regional and all the prejudices and just be able to operate globally. So from day one, we set up an organization which did not have a headquarters. We had no headquarters. Now, we had, for legal reasons, we registered the company somewhere, but our leadership was all over the place. John was sitting in Hong Kong, Raymond was in Chicago, I was in India, somebody else was somewhere else. We had no headquarters. We, from day one, organized around what we called a one-team concept, which meant our project teams, which did the projects, were all over the place. A project leader might be in Chicago, another person might be in Hong Kong, somebody else might be in the UK. We were all over the place. From day one, we set up an application where anybody can log in and see the status of the project anywhere, including our clients. So all the symbols of power, all the symbols of authority were dispersed. They were not in anyone's hand or any one place. So that's the way we decided to select what we call the global mindset. And that was the most difficult thing to deal with. I'll tell you one small story. I had a team, and I was looking after the personnel, HR, whatever, plus the operations in India. Had a team, some people were in Chicago, some people were in UK. And I had a person reporting to me in Chicago. When I came to Chicago for a meeting, she sort of pulled me aside and said, my team is not happy. I said, about what? Well, they're upset that I'm reporting to India. Then this is reporting to India. So I said, what did you tell them? He said, I didn't know what you said. I said, oh, really? I said, you're not reporting to India. You're reporting to a role which happens to sit in India. So I'm sitting in India. Tomorrow I might be somewhere else, or tomorrow someone else might play the role. So you're not reporting to India, is a, not domestic to somebody in the US reporting to India, but you're just working as a team. Now that's the mindset we have to deal with. This I'm talking about way back in 1991, 92. Now today you don't see this issue. Today we move on. We got acquired by a company called Capgemini, which is a French company, Paris-based, and that was in 2007. And you see over there all the countries that we were working, and the same thing continued. And our biggest challenge was what I call the change management. One day we were Canberra, small organization. We were around $350, $400 million revenue when we got acquired. and into an organization which is $14 billion organization overnight. 40 countries, French, Paris-based, no more this Anglo-Saxon reality, overnight change. So we had to take all of our cultural understanding and the way we were operating into an organization which is operating today. I'll come to that in a minute. Now, in 2008, we formed what is called the Capgemini Financial Services Business Unit. That's what Canbe became. Canbe became Financial Services Business Unit. One of the reasons why Capgemini acquired Canbe was precisely because what Canbe was. In terms of its way of operating, we operated as a global organization. We had no geographies. We didn't care about India or UK or Hong Kong or Singapore or US. We were not an American company. We were not an Indian organization. We had one profit P&L, one budget, regardless of where the money came from, where it was spent. It was one organization. Capgemini, on the other hand, is 40 countries. Each country is a business unit. And it has, even today, 350 P&Ls, which means kingdoms, little kingdoms, operating independently, held together in the rules federation, profit centers. Whereas Canbe was the total opposite. So Capgemini acquired Canbe to transform the organization into a one global organization like what we were. So in 2008, you see those countries in red, Netherlands, Switzerland, Belgium, and Taiwan, got added to what was Canbe, and it became bigger. And in 2000, so our challenge, cultural challenge, was how we rapidly integrate geographies who didn't speak English, who operated out of a regional mindset, operated out of a very different model of working, whereas we work what I call the one team. Doesn't matter where the client is, doesn't matter where you do the work, we operate as one team, one goal, one objective, one P&L. And here, people are coming from totally different mindsets, so how do we integrate them very quickly? 2009, we brought in France and China. Now we're dealing with the French. And China. So that's 2009. 2010, we are adding Spain. Yeah.
French is not where Capgemini's
headquarters are. But the financial services, yeah, the Capgemini has work in manufacturing, communication, government. For example, in UK, all the tax transactions, like the IRS here, are handled by Capgemini for UK government. It's almost $1 billion billing that we do to the Her Majesty's government. Texas utilities, Texas, handled by Capgemini, just to give you some flavor of what we do. Canada utilities in Ontario is handled by Capgemini. So it's into applications and computer software business. So the financial services business, in other words, the business that we do with the banks, insurance companies, and capital markets, investment banks, which of course Cyprian, now it's all government, most parts of the world, we deal with that, the unit that I'm in. So challenge for us culturally was what we started as Canbe, with a very strong sense of culture and the values. How do you transpose that rapidly and consistently across the world? So that's what we had. Now, interestingly, the models that we used, the frameworks that we used as Canbe, didn't have to change. Still the framework. Some of the content changed. So this is what I want to present a little bit in terms of the models, the frameworks that we use, because they are universal, and those can be used by anybody. So one of the things that we did right early on was to come up with what we call a metaphor for how to talk about culture. Because culture has different connotations. You say culture, different connotations. So we wanted a metaphor which is universal, which is understood by anybody in any culture, anywhere. You know, the classic image is iceberg. You may have seen this iceberg model of culture. Now, in India, people have not seen iceberg. What is iceberg? So we said tree is very, very common. So we use the metaphor of the tree in terms of talking about culture. We said that tree has two parts to it. There's a visible part and there's a hidden part. So we say the visible part is action and behavior part of our culture. The hidden part is the thinking and the beliefs and the philosophy and the values. So we talk about that's being the culture. There's a visible part to it, there's a hidden part to it. And see, we deal with computer software. There's a lot of engineers who deal with math all the time. So you have to have a model, not just the nature, a little more formula. So that's we all look at formulas all the time. So we said culture is equal to what is visible and what's hidden, our thinking, our doing, our beliefs, and our values, and our action. And if you take any one of them out, it is not culture. So we push people to talk about our national culture, for example. We talk about in India, for example, we say, respect for the elders, and value for education, etc. Then we push them and say, okay, what about corruption? No, that's not part of our culture. Oh, really? So we don't do that. We come to the U.S. We talk about the same. What's our culture? The freedom and individual thing. Okay, what about this? What about that? No, that's not part of the culture. I say, oh, really? That's not. So that means what we do and what we say, there's a very culture. So we push this thing and trying to become aware of the fact that culture is nothing but what we do every day. It's our behavior, which of course rises from the way we think, our beliefs and our values. So we really spent time on this model as a universal understanding of culture for us within the company. Now, then the question is, okay, that's fine. So what do you do with it? How do you go about it? So we have four basic steps. One, we state our common beliefs and other those are values as an organization. Now, this is what we did early on. You don't state your values. You don't define your values all the time. Otherwise, they're not values. They are much more perennial in nature. Then we define our behaviors, and here we do two things: desired and not desired. That we do every year. Every year, we take, this is what we want. The reason is certain behaviors become part of our DNA. I think, like Larry was talking about yesterday, that's just, the being dimension. Once it happens, you don't have to worry about it. There may be new behaviors that need to come into the orchestration later on, why you have to do this. Third, we have to, because it's organization level, we have to integrate them into policies and structures to make them happen all the time. People change, new leadership comes, geographies, as you see. Then it will be part of our thing, not just a thing that we put on the board, but it's actually what we do operationally. And finally, you have to rehearse it, reinforce it, communicate it. So I'll go through the process a little bit and give you some of the content behind it. These are our values. Now, I'm not going to go through the process through which we came through. As Canby, early days, we came through our beliefs and then we did some values. We have 7 values as Canby. Now, these are Capgemini values. Now, the interesting thing is, there's a lot of similarity between Canby values and the Capgemini values. And that was where one of the reasons why the integration was much simpler. As you know, most integrations fail. Most acquisitions fail at the integration level, at the culture level, at people level, not operationally, not financially, not technically. They fail at the cultural level. And this has been a very successful integration because at cultural level there is a lot of commonality. Secondly, Capgemini kept the Canby paradigm untouched. So today we have some of the Canby leadership is still there. The Canby way of operating, all the paradigms, all the operating frameworks are all intact. And that's exactly what they want to penetrate the rest of the organization. So this is, as you see, the root of the tree, and we have 7 values: honesty, boldness, trust, freedom, team spirit, modesty, and fun. Basically, there are 7 values. Now, as you saw the model earlier, our next step was to take the values and say, okay, so what? What do we do? What are our behaviors? So these are the descriptions of each value. I skipped that. So that's content. Okay. So we took the values, 7 values, and said, okay, what are the behaviors we want and behaviors we don't want in the organization? And as I said earlier, we do this every year. The reason is, I'll give you one simple example. One of our values is freedom, and one of our values is also teamwork, collaboration. We have an extremely strong, a propensity or a paradigm in the organization that we collaborate with our clients as strategic partners. Everybody says that. Okay. Now, 2-3 years ago, if you asked one of our people and you said, what does that mean to partner with the client? They would say, because the behavior we wanted in the organization was to give the clients what they desired and delight them. Delighting the client was an important behavior. So you did everything. You stayed late, you really understood their need, and you fulfilled the need, you did the coding correctly, made sure there were no errors in it, make sure it worked well, client was very happy. So you gave what the clients wanted. But 2 years ago, we said that's a great behavior because now it is part of the organization. However, today that is not good enough. The value has now changed of collaborating with the client as a strategic partner. But the behavior today, what we want is we want to be consultants to our clients, not just fulfilling the orders as good as we can or better than anybody else. We want to be a consultant. Now, how can you be a consultant? What does a consultant do? A consultant offers solutions. How do you offer a solution? You can offer a solution only if you know your client's business better than the client themselves. So, today the behavior we are driving into the organization is learn clients' business. So that's the behavior. Now, where does that come from? That came from not just the values, but our vision and our strategy of being a consultant, not just somebody who delights the client. So our vision today is to be a consultant to our clients, somebody who can offer solutions to the client, and understand their business issues, not just the technology issues. Earlier we were doing technology, giving them a solution, technology solution. Today we are giving them a business solution so that they are successful in their business. See the change in the strategy, change in the vision, which changes the behavior we want in the organization from everyone. So that's where every year we say, okay, what is our vision going forward? What's our strategy now? You know our values. So what is our behavior going forward? So that's the whole process. So what we do, here's what we do. So we take the values that we have, which is on this corner here, what we consider as important, the values, and we come up with 3 things for each value. We say, okay, given this value, what is the visible enactment of the organization as a commitment to this value, which what we call in our language rituals. What are the rituals that we have in the organization? What is held in high esteem in the organization? What can somebody see in the organization as a manifestation of this value? For example, if we reward team success, then you know teamwork is held in high esteem and not just individual success. Most of the time individuals get rewarded. Now, is there a way to measure team success? Do you reward teams rather than just individuals? So there are some different rituals. Sharing information openly. Now we have honesty as a value. Okay? One of the practices we have in the organization is there is a review of every proposal that we put into the organization. Review of every proposal. Right now I'm going through a review process for a proposal that I'm working on for training in China. It is a 2-month review process because it is China. Every country is color-coded in Captain. Green, red and orange. China happens to be in red. For a number of reasons. Either it's for safety, security reasons, like Iran is red for security reasons. China is red because of the corrupt practices, potential corrupt practices. So if it is red, any proposal, even if it was $100, it goes to the board. So I'm going through a board review process right now. Now that's an organization practice because of the value of honesty. We do not do any corrupt practices in our business, period. So it will go through the process. If it's a green country, then it has a different process. If it's a red country, you just don't do business unless it gets board approved, period. You can't even touch it. And the board sometimes, most of the time, does not look at it unless you really build a business case on how it has no corrupt practices or it is safe. We had a work in recently, I forget, some country, large proposal, and we turned it down. It was on security grounds. But we said, for Indian people, it's not an issue that Americans, maybe board came back and said, it's safe, unsafe for one, it's unsafe for all. Not safe. Organization because of the value. So that is there in the organization. So what are those? Then you have what we call the individual success values. What is recognized by the organization as measures of success. And we have to do a lot of change here because what is success in organizations? Promotion, assigned parking in the US, and corner room, secretary who can block everybody. These are all the success symbols we have. So we have to change some of those and we say, okay, what are the success symbols based on our values? We have to say that. And what we said was the success habits, success symbols, the measures of success are the ones they are not related to the promotion, but they're rather learning or growth. So we have to change all of that. It is not how many people reporting to you or your size of your team. It's what is the capability? How well you are able to respond to your client. What is the capabilities that you have? How many new skills you are acquiring? What is your breadth and depth of responsibility? So you change some of those success symbols and incorporate them into the behaviors of people. And finally, the taboos. Things we said we will not tolerate in the organization. And there are only very few things. And these things, if you do, it is one of those, what's the rule in the US that is like something like no mercy or, 3 times?
No prisoners.
Yeah, no,
Three strikes and you're
3
out.
strikes and you're out.
Prisons.
This is 1 strike and you're out. This is
One
1
strike.
strike. Yeah, there are only 3 strikes here. Everybody knows what those are. For example, we have a security policy. If you share your password with somebody, you're out. It's as strict as that. Okay. If you go to certain sites, and if it jeopardizes the safety security for our database, you are out. If you staff a project with people who do not know and who have not passed certain certifications of knowing clients' business, and that's important for us, you are out. You cannot start a project today if you don't know the client's business, with people who don't know the client's business. So there are, we call these taboos, and they're really there, and we communicate them, saying, don't come back and say, oh, I did not know about it. Because when you join, these are spelled out. So these are what we call taboos. You have absolutely no tolerance in the organization for this. Fraud. You change your expense. I just fired one person a week ago who tampered with the expense. Small amount. Tamper your CV. You're out. So these are really, really strict taboos, and there's absolutely, it doesn't matter who it is, where it is, how big responsibility they have, don't look at it all. It's totally, no tolerance. So we build that. So what we do, once we do that, integrate all of them into our policies, structures, systems, practices. As I said earlier, honesty, no fraud, no corruption, but you have structure to it. You have a policy to it. We respect individuals, great, but what's the policy, what's the structure in terms of how we do our feedback, how we do appraisal, promotions? It has to be built in. So we take that step further, and these tables give you the 3 things: organization practice, success habit, taboo for each value that we have. Discrimination based on personal prejudices, gender, race, or age. Taboo. When you are recruiting, very often we blank out the name so that gender is not exposed. And of course, none of our CVs have age on it. By rule, we don't put age. when you're asked. So we just blank it out. And so you look at all the things that doesn't capability, the experience, etc. Man, woman. Now, we do have a internal interest in terms of encouraging gender diversity, but not at the expense of merit or experience. So we do want gender diversity, man, women, regions, etc., etc. Because when we recruit, for example, we go to we recruit a lot of engineers in India, particularly. We recruit close to 3,000-4,000 people a year. So we go to many colleges, even though we can get them all from one region. We want diversity across the nation, so we spend a lot of money, we go all over the place. But they all go through the same aptitude test, same entrance test, and once they go through it, we don't care where they're from. We don't care whether men or women, if they make it, they make it. So that's how it goes. So this is these are all the 7 things. These are the different frameworks that we have based on our values, which are really coming together of our policies and strategies. This is our philosophy, for example. I'll just touch on a couple of things. One of our philosophy when we recruit people, we say we are not looking for best and the brightest, which is what most people say. In fact, one of the reporters, newspaper reporters who wanted an article on our organization asked me, how do you recruit best and the brightest? And I said, we don't. We don't recruit the best and the brightest. He said, really, you don't? I said, no. You don't look for best and brightest? We don't. I said, we look for lifetime learners. We want people who learn, unlearn, constantly learn. And happen to be the best and brightest. Yeah. If you are a lifetime learner, you are best, that's the best and brightest for us. So, every person who leaves the organization leaves as friends. I'll give you one small story. First time in our history as an organization, we had to lay off people because our business just went. Beginning of 2009, financial services, right? We had every one of our clients drop projects like that. And our business really tanked. And we had no visibility into the future because our clients had no visibility into the future. So we laid off 900. That's almost 10% of our population. Never done. We have never done it. We were and we are still a very people-centric organization. So what we do with all the values, we want a person to leave as a friend. Just imagine when you're laying off, somebody leaving as a friend. We spend 2 months planning for it. 2 months. Every company laid off in India, in France, in Netherlands, in the US, everywhere. So we said we want to do very different. We made sure every single person left with a conversation. Most companies will give a big slip. Companies will give which all people to auditorium and say, listen, in this situation, you don't have a job. We had a senior person, vice president level, an HR person, or somebody else from the team meet with every single person. Some conversations lasted 30 minutes, some 2 hours. But every person left with a conversation. Secondly, every person was given an assurance the business turns around, you'll be the first person to be back. And we have had 50% people back already because the business is looking up now and we've had. Thirdly, every person left with some, what do you call, package. Severance package, which is very attractive. And we said, even if you come back within a month, you don't have to do that. Third, every person we gave, what you call job placement assistance. So almost 100 people got new jobs. So we did it in a way such that everybody left understanding. And the last thing we did was we wrote a communication to every one of the panelists. Every one of the panelists. And this is what we do. Because in Asia particularly, one of the biggest issues is going home without a job. It's very hard. There were quite a few people had not told it they lost their job. So we didn't want that situation. We wrote every home saying it's nothing to do with them situation. So that was a big value for us. And, so we spent time, 2 months planning for it, and then we executed it. And so just to move on, we have a small slogan here, which is down to the keyboard, deep vertical knowledge down to the keyboard. In other words, we say anybody who touches the keyboard, they have to have deep vertical is the industry knowledge, the business knowledge. Otherwise, they don't touch the keyboard. So, this is what we call the delivery model as a one team. As I said earlier, what we've done is, as I said, we have global virtual teams doing client projects. I'll give you one small story. We are, HSBC is one of our large clients, and we have a number of projects for them. We have close to 2,000 people who work on HSBC systems. We have a project where we have people in many countries, and one of the project's manager from the client side, not from our side, client side, sits in an office outside Chicago. One day he called one of our people and said, "Yes, we have been communicating, he's one of our project managers, for quite a while. Why don't we get together for lunch so we can discuss certain things?" So the guy said, "Sure, let's do that." It's all on emails, by the way. So he said, "When shall we do it?" And he said, the client side, "Why don't we do it tomorrow?" So our person said, "Well, it will take me a little longer to get there." So he said, "Where are you?" He said, "No, I'm in Pune, I'm in India." So, "Oh, you're in India? I thought you were sitting in Chicago." I'm just giving the story to illustrate that our teams are spread globally, virtually, but most of the time they work as one team, and really people don't know whether you're working from here, working from there, and really doesn't matter. The project manager is somewhere else, the person is somewhere else, client is somewhere else. As long as you fulfill the client's needs on time, well, it really doesn't matter. Even the client, he thought he was sitting next door in the office. Yeah. This is a little learning framework we have. We put a lot of emphasis on what we call the holistic growth. Technical excellence, we are a technology company, everybody needs to know technology, it changes all the time. But most organizations like us put all the emphasis on technology. Engineering graduates come out with that. Then you go to work, that's what we say is domain knowledge, which is the industry, the client business knowledge, and managerial leadership competencies. We put 50% emphasis on that. In terms of the time, budget, money. This is a career framework that we have. We have what we call vertical development, not just climbing the ladder, we are also broadening growth. This is a model that we use in terms of ethics is a big talk about ethical leadership in terms of internal aspects of it. There is purpose, mission, and values, execution. When it's all together in a holistic way, it's really what ethics are all about. It's not something on the wall there, but actually acting out of beliefs, values, and the vision of the behaviors. And this is my favorite. This is another model that you see a lot of similarity here. This is in terms of freedom and responsibility in the organization. Freedom is a big value for us, and it's one of the 7 values. And what we have said is every person is free to think and act freely, as long as boundary of our values and the beliefs and our philosophy. Within that boundary, you are free to, you have 100% freedom, 100%. And our people really do that. Today, one of our businesses is called testing. Every application is developed, it has to be tested first. And it's a huge business in itself. testing to make sure it really works well. But in our business, because of developing applications, it is not seen as a an attractive aspect of the business. Testing, building it is a great one, but testing it is something small. But one of our people 5 years ago said, we should get into it, and we all said, no, not part of our strategy. It doesn't fit our business plan. Nobody would be interested in it. It's not very attractive. Don't touch it. This guy quietly went and hired a few people, hired a few people, started a little thing on the side, didn't tell anybody. Soon he started selling it to the clients and as an attachment. So within 5-6 months, he had 100 people working on testing. So then he came back and said, hey, so we said, you got a client, did you get a management approval? Nothing, he didn't have anything. Total freedom. He went ahead and did that, and he had 100% freedom. But once it reached a stage, he could take it any further. But it was also reached a stage, it was attractive for the management to look at it. So today, it is one of the fastest growing business, and is close to 150 million euro, which is around 220 $million business. Started with nothing, by one person, because he thought that's what we should do, and nobody wanted to do it. So, and I can give you 2-3 illustrations like that. We used to work from Tuesday to Saturday to interface with the US timings in India. So US Monday to Friday, India Tuesday to Saturday. So interface take out. One day, one of the newly hired graduate came and asked me, why do I do this? Why don't we work from Monday to Friday like everybody else? So I said, it's because of this US overlap. And he said, yeah, but we have Hong Kong, UK, China, Australia, and all of that, but why do we still do this? So I said, that's true. Change it. I said, change it. So I said, change it? Does it need a management? I said, you're free. Didn't you go through the culture orientation? Everybody goes through one-day culture orientation and they join the company. Did you see this? You have 100% freedom. Change it. I said, how do I do that? I said, you figure it out. Change it. You have the freedom to change it. If it is a better thing for the organization, you have the freedom to change it. Nobody will come and do it. But you need to show it is a better model. So he went off. He came back after 3 or 4 days. He had worked it out, how it can be done. I said, I was taking into account the clients, and all the communication, all the change management. He had done a beautiful plan. I said, do it. So how do I do it? I said, so he actually took a month for him to work through all the details. He talked to people, everything. A month later, we changed it. Now we work from Monday to Friday. Within months, I had 2 people come to me and said, no, I think we should go to the Tuesday because, this. I said, great, change it. It's up to you. They didn't come back.
Exactly.
No. So we say, we have 100% freedom as long as you take 100% responsibility. So we say, it's all math, right? People. So if you want 50% responsibility, you'll get 50 or less freedom. So don't ask for freedom if you are unwilling to take the responsibility. So,
I said we got about 10 minutes to have our report.
I'm done. This is my last thing.
Okay, then we got to work on the report.
So we say, and if you walk the path of the responsibility, we say you will have the gift of freedom. If you walk the path of the responsibility, you have the gift of 100% freedom. Contrary to that, if you walk say I want freedom, I want more power, I want more authority, give me this, give me that, so that I can take responsibility, you say responsibility would show up as a burden. So this is a model that we keep driving in terms of the value of freedom. So this is literally the last thing I want to show you how we go about building a sustainable culture.
All right.